Okay, so you're getting ready for an interview for an import-export specialist position.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it focuses on China and glassware.
Sounds fascinating.
Right. I mean, it's a very interesting niche. It's all about bridging cultures and markets.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to deep dive into those common interview questions you might get.
Okay.
And we'll pull insights from a career guide.
Right.
We'll even use RoleCatcher's AI to help us prepare.
Wonderful.
So
This is going to be great for our listeners.
what's really important is understanding why the interviewer is asking these questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about memorizing answers,
Mm-hmm.
but it's about giving the interviewer a chance to peek into your thought process
Yeah.
and how you deal with challenges. Like you're demonstrating that import-export specialist mindset.
Exactly. In action.
Love that. So let's just jump right into question one.
Okay.
How did you become interested in importing and exporting glassware in China? It seems pretty straightforward, but I think there's a little more to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not asking about your favorite color here or anything like that.
Mhm.
They're looking to see your genuine interest
Yeah.
and passion for this specific field.
Yeah.
A good way to approach this is to share a good story. Maybe a time you went to China,
Oh, yeah.
were captivated by the markets,
Yeah.
or maybe you had a family connection to the glassware industry
Mhm.
that sparked your interest.
I like that. That personal touch, I think, can really make you stand out.
For sure.
The career guide also suggests mentioning relevant education or experience, but keeping it impactful.
Yeah, just a very concise statement, something like, my international business degree gave me the foundation to understand global trade, and I've been drawn to the Chinese market
Yeah.
ever since.
So you've got the academic background
Yes,
and the focused interest.
exactly.
All right. So question 2 gets a little more technical.
Right.
What is your experience with customs regulations and documentation for import and export processes? Now, I imagine they really want to know if you know your stuff.
They do. This is about showing your practical knowledge, and the STAR method is perfect for this. Situation, task, action, result. Think of it like this. Let's say you had a shipment that was delayed because of an incorrect tariff classification.
Okay.
Okay, so your task was to reclassify the goods and then submit correct documentation.
Right.
What actions did you take? Researching regulations, consulting with a customs broker, getting all the paperwork in order, and the result. You got the shipment cleared and prevented more delays.
Okay. So that's showing your problem-solving skills.
Exactly.
That's a great example of the STAR method. It really paints a clear picture of how you can handle real-world problems. But what if somebody hasn't faced that specific situation?
That's where RoleCatcher's AI comes in.
Okay.
The interviews feature has tons of questions for different jobs.
Okay.
You can practice your answers, and the AI will look at your answers and see where your knowledge gaps are. So it might recommend doing some research on specific customs regulations, or it could even point you to case studies. That way you'll be ready for anything the interviewer throws at you.
That's like having a personalized coach.
It is.
Okay, let's look at question 3. How do you stay up to date with industry trends and regulations in the glassware import and export industry? I like this one.
Yeah.
It shows you're always learning.
So important.
The career guide mentions publications like Global Trade Magazine and China Business Review
Right.
to stay informed. And it says joining professional associations like the International Compliance Professionals Association shows you're proactive.
Absolutely.
Those are great resources.
Right.
But how can somebody use those in an answer to really stand out?
Okay, so instead of just saying you read these publications, talk about something specific you read. For example, you could say, I read a really interesting article in Global Trade Magazine recently about how the U.S.-China trade agreement is impacting glassware tariffs.
Okay.
It's really interesting to see how these changes in geopolitics affect our industry.
So you're not just reading, but you're actively thinking about these topics.
Yes, and applying what you learn.
Yeah.
And RoleCatcher AI can help here, too.
Yeah.
It might tell you to connect your reading to specific industry trends, like the demand for sustainable glassware.
Oh, yeah.
Or how e-commerce is changing distribution channels.
Makes a lot of sense.
This shows that you really understand how complex this market is.
All right, now question 4. What is your experience with negotiating contracts and pricing for glassware imports and exports? This one seems pretty high stakes.
It is. This is your chance to show off your negotiation skills and business sense. They're looking for someone who can get good terms for the company and build strong relationships with international partners.
Yeah.
So think about a time when you successfully negotiated a contract or pricing agreement.
Okay.
And again, use the STAR method.
So the situation could be a supplier wanted to raise prices unexpectedly,
Right.
and the task was to negotiate a price that worked for both sides.
Exactly. Then for the action, you would explain what you did. Analyzing market trends, researching other suppliers, talking to the original supplier to come to an agreement that worked for everyone.
And the result would be you got a price that was good for both sides, which prevents supply chain problems, and it shows you can handle tough negotiations.
Yes. And don't be afraid to talk about problems you faced during the negotiation.
Oh, yeah.
It shows you can deal with difficult conversations and come up with creative solutions.
Right. It's not always easy,
Nope.
but it's how you deal with it that
Right.
really matters.
Exactly. RoleCatcher can help you perfect these STAR stories. The AI can look at your wording and make sure it's clear and impactful so you're presenting your experiences in the best possible way.
This AI is sounding better and better.
I know, right?
Okay, so question 5 is, can you describe a time when you had to resolve a dispute with a customer or supplier in the glassware import and export industry? Conflict resolution. That's always fun.
It happens in every business,
Yeah.
especially when you're working internationally. They're looking for proof of your communication skills, problem-solving abilities, and your professionalism.
So it's not just about the resolution, but how you handled it.
Right.
What you did to calm things down and find a solution everyone could agree on.
Yes. Pick an example where you were able to solve a conflict and it ended well.
Okay.
What were the main issues? How did you talk to the other side? And what did you do to find a solution?
So it sounds like honesty and being specific are important. You don't need to make things sound better than they were,
Right.
but you should focus on what you learned
For sure.
and how you grew from these tough experiences.
Exactly. And again, this is a good place to use RoleCatcher AI.
Okay.
By practicing your answer and getting feedback,
Right.
you can make sure you're highlighting the right skills and showing you can handle conflict professionally.
So prepare, practice, and improve with RoleCatcher.
That's it.
Okay, question 6 focuses on risk management. What strategies have you used to mitigate risks in the glassware import and export industry? This feels like a big picture question.
It is. They want to see that you understand the risks that come with international trade and that you're proactive about managing those risks.
Okay.
So think about the different kinds of risks: financial, logistical, regulatory, even political. And then give real examples of strategies you've used.
So if somebody diversified their supplier base, so they weren't relying on just one source,
Right.
or if they had strong quality control to make sure the products weren't damaged, those would be good to mention.
Yes. And don't forget about backup plans.
Yeah.
For when the supply chain is disrupted, maybe you had to reroute shipments when a port closed, or find another way to transport goods during the pandemic.
So those real-world examples show you can actually do it.
You're not just talking about it.
Right.
And RoleCatcher can help you connect those experiences to the specific skills they're looking for.
Okay.
Things like strategic thinking, problem solving, and risk assessment.
Yeah.
It's about tailoring your answers to the job. And RoleCatcher is perfect for that.
All right. I think this is a good place to stop for now.
Okay.
In part 2, we'll go through the rest of the interview questions, and we'll look at some career insights from the RoleCatcher guide.
Great.
And I've got a couple stories that might be helpful
All
to
right.
bring all these concepts to life.
Looking forward to it.
Stay tuned.
See you then. So last time we were talking about managing risk in the glassware import and export industry.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
That's why question 7 is so important. How do you ensure compliance with environmental regulations in the glassware import and export industry?
Okay.
This shows you're not just focused on moving product, but that you're doing it responsibly and ethically.
And more customers want to know where things come from and the impact those products are having on the planet.
Exactly. The interviewer wants to see that you understand what impact global trade has on the environment and that you're committed to doing things sustainably.
Where do you even begin with this one? There are so many regulations out there.
There are, but don't get overwhelmed. Start by getting familiar with some key regulations. For example, the RoHS directive.
Okay.
That one restricts certain dangerous substances in electronic equipment, and that includes some glassware.
Okay, so RoHS. What else?
REC is another important one. It's about making sure chemicals are used safely.
Okay.
So manufacturers and importers need to register and provide safety data on the chemicals they use.
So knowing about the regulations is the first step.
Right.
How do you show that you're actually complying with them during an interview?
By talking about your experience.
Okay.
Have you worked with suppliers who meet certain environmental standards?
Okay.
Have you set up recycling programs or done anything to reduce waste?
Mm-hmm.
Those are things that show you're serious about sustainability.
Those are some great examples. And
Right.
I'm sure RoleCatcher can help with the answers for this one, too.
You bet. The AI might tell you to connect these initiatives to specific environmental certifications.
Okay.
Or talk about how following the rules can save the company money.
Right. So it's about going deeper.
Yeah, showing you really understand.
Okay, so question 8 is about logistics. What is your experience working with international logistics and supply chain management for glassware imports and exports? I feel like that's a lot to handle.
It is, but it's really interesting.
Yeah.
This is your chance to show that you understand the whole process,
Mm-hmm.
from the factory in China to the customer here in the U.S.
So everything.
Everything, transportation, warehousing, distribution,
Yeah.
all the pieces that keep global trade moving.
It's okay.
Think about coordinating shipments, managing inventory, finding the best shipping routes, and making sure things are delivered on time.
Those are important parts of the job.
They are. And once again, concrete examples are really helpful.
Instead of just saying, I'm good at logistics.
Right. Tell a story. Maybe you had to quickly reroute a shipment because of a strike at a port.
Okay.
That shows you're adaptable and can solve problems.
Or maybe you put in place a new inventory system.
Right.
That saved money on storage and made things more efficient.
Exactly. These details really make you stand out. And if you're having trouble thinking of examples,
Yeah.
RoleCatcher can be a huge help. Its database can help you figure out what skills from your past jobs you can use for this one. And then you can tailor your answers to fit the requirements.
It's like having a guide to success.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, question 9 is, can you discuss a time when you had to adapt to changes in the glassware import and export industry? This one is about being flexible and resilient.
You got it. This industry is always changing, so they want to see that you can handle surprises.
Right.
Learn fast and change your approach when you need to.
So you need to embrace change and look at it as a chance to grow.
Exactly. Think of a time when there was a big change,
Okay.
like a new regulation or a change in demand,
Yeah.
or even a global event like the pandemic.
Yeah. We've all had to adapt these past few years.
We have. Focus on how you responded to the change, what you did to learn and adjust, and what the good outcome was.
Okay.
Did you learn new software? Did you successfully move into a new market? Highlight your ability to stay flexible in a fast-moving environment?
Okay, let's switch gears a bit and look at some of the career insights from the RoleCatcher Guide.
Okay.
What kind of information is in there that could help with the interview?
It gives a good overview of what it's like to work in import-export.
Okay.
It talks about the great opportunities and the potential challenges.
Like what?
It's competitive.
Okay.
So you have to be ready to show what makes you special. The work can be demanding with long hours and tight deadlines, especially during busy times. But the rewards can be great. You could travel internationally.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of room for growth in your career.
It's about finding the right balance and seeing if it's the right fit for you.
Right. So if you're passionate about global trade and like working in a fast-paced environment where you're always learning, this might be the perfect career for you.
It sounds like a good fit for someone who likes to solve problems and connect different cultures and markets.
It is. Before we jump back into the interview questions,
Okay.
let me share a little story that might help.
Right.
It's about attention to detail. That's one of the most important skills you need for this job.
It sounds basic,
Yeah.
but I bet it's crucial in this industry.
Oh, it is. I remember early in my career, I was handling a big shipment of hand-blown glassware
Okay.
from a really talented artisan in China.
Nice.
We were all so excited about this partnership, but I made a small mistake on the paperwork. I put the wrong type of glass.
Oh, no. That could have been bad.
It could have. But I caught it before it left China.
Okay, good.
It was close. But it taught me a big lesson. Even the tiniest details matter. You have to double-check everything, even when you're under pressure.
Yeah, it's not just about speed.
It's also about accuracy and being precise.
Exactly. And you can highlight that in your answers, too.
Yeah.
When you're talking about your experience. Emphasize how careful you are with paperwork, how you spot mistakes, and that you're committed to being accurate every step of the way.
That's definitely a valuable skill.
Yes.
Okay, let's get back to those interview questions.
Okay.
Where were we?
We left off at question 9. Now let's look at question 10. This one's all about problem solving under pressure. How would you handle a situation where a shipment of glassware is delayed due to unforeseen circumstances, such as a natural disaster or a port strike?
Ooh, that sounds stressful.
It is.
Like a puzzle with big consequences.
It is. They're trying to see how you think on your feet,
Okay.
how you communicate when things are tough,
Mm-hmm.
and how you find solutions when things go wrong.
So it's not just about having a plan, but about changing that plan when things don't go as expected.
Exactly. It's about those critical thinking skills you need for this job.
So when you answer this question, think about the steps you would take.
Okay, so first, acknowledge this situation
Right.
and how it might affect the shipment. Then gather information to figure out what's going on.
Exactly.
Talk to the shipping company, see if there are other routes, understand what's causing the delay.
Yes, you're already showing that you're taking action.
Mm-hmm.
Then think about communication. Who needs to know about the delay?
The supplier.
Right, the customer.
Yeah, internal teams.
Mm-hmm. What do they need to know? How are you going to manage their expectations?
Yeah, you need to communicate clearly and openly.
Yes, to prevent problems and confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, you need to explain what solutions you would explore. Would you try to speed up the current shipment?
Okay.
Find a replacement from another supplier?
Mm-hmm.
Offer the customer a discount or a different product?
So you're showing that you can think strategically and come up with options when you're under pressure.
Exactly. Remember, there's no one right answer here. They want to see how you think and that you can make good decisions.
That makes me feel better.
It should.
It's about showing you can think critically and be creative to deal with problems.
Exactly. And if you need some inspiration
Yeah.
or want to try out different approaches,
Mm-hmm.
RoleCatcher is there for you.
Okay.
It can give you feedback on your problem solving and help you create an answer that really shows off your skills.
Okay, let's move on to question 11. This one takes a broader view. What are some of the biggest challenges facing the glassware import and export industry today?
This is your chance to show that you understand the industry. The interviewer wants to see if you know about the trends, the problems, and the opportunities.
So you need to look beyond the everyday tasks
Mm-hmm.
and show you understand the big picture.
Right. Think about the different factors affecting the industry. How's the global economy doing?
Oh.
Are there any trade wars or political issues impacting things?
Mm-hmm.
What about new technology? Are there new ways of manufacturing or e-commerce platforms that are changing the way business is done?
Those are all important things to consider.
They are. And then you have the sustainability issues we talked about earlier. Customers are demanding products that are ethically sourced and environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
That has a big impact on where companies get their products and how transparent the supply chain is.
So a good answer would show you understand how all these things are connected
Yes,
and how they're shaping the industry.
exactly. This is also a chance to show your passion for the industry
Okay.
and your vision for its future. Do you see potential in new markets?
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited about new technologies?
Yeah.
You need to think critically and strategically about the big picture.
Okay.
And RoleCatcher can help you connect those trends to your own skills and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
It can suggest data, industry reports, even news articles to back up what you're saying.
So it shows you really know what's going on. Okay, question 12 is about teamwork. Tell me about a time you had to work with a team to achieve a difficult goal. What was your role and what was the outcome?
Classic.
Yeah, this one seems to come up a lot.
It does. Teamwork is so important in pretty much every job,
Yeah.
especially one as collaborative as import-export.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know if you're a team player, how you handle conflict, and how you contribute to success.
You can't just say, I'm a team player.
Right. You need an example.
Mm-hmm.
Think about a project that was challenging,
Okay.
where you worked together and achieved something good.
Right.
What was the goal? Who was on the team? What did you do? How did you help the team succeed?
So you need to talk about both what you did individually and what you accomplished together.
Exactly. They want to see that you can take initiative and work well with others. Did you lead the team?
Okay.
Did you communicate well with people from different cultures or time zones?
Mm-hmm.
Did you use your expertise to help achieve the overall goal?
Those are good things to talk about.
They are. And as always, RoleCatcher is there to refine your answer,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure it's clear, concise, and tailored to what the interviewer is looking for.
Okay, now for the question that makes everyone nervous. Question 13. What are your salary expectations?
Yes, the salary question.
It's always so awkward.
It can be,
Yeah.
but it's an important question, and just like any other question, preparation is key.
Okay. So how do you answer this without selling yourself short or seeming unreasonable?
Do your research.
Okay.
Before the interview, look at salary ranges for similar jobs in your area and industry. Sites like Glassdoor and salary.com are great for that.
So once you have an idea of the market rate,
Right.
how do you actually say it?
Don't give a specific number. Instead, say something like, I'm looking for a salary that's competitive and matches my experience.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's professional, and it doesn't lock you into a number too early.
Mm-hmm.
And if they really want a number,
Yeah.
you can give a range based on your research.
Good advice. Now let's move on to something that's not really a question, but an opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yes. This is your chance to show you're interested and curious.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a chance to learn more,
Okay.
so you can make a good decision about whether this is the right job for you.
So what are some good questions to ask?
Ask about the company culture,
Okay.
the team you'd be working with,
Hmm.
opportunities for growth, the company's vision for the future,
Okay.
and tailor your questions to the specific company and job.
Yeah. The more specific your questions are,
Right.
the better impression you'll make.
Exactly. It shows you've done your homework and you really want to be part of their success.
All right. Welcome back to our deep dive into acing that import-export specialist interview.
We're in the home stretch.
We are ready to finish strong.
Let's do it.
Okay. So question 14. This one always seems to throw people off. What are your strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It is. It feels like a balancing act. You have to highlight your good qualities while acknowledging things you need to work on.
Right. But remember, they're not trying to make you feel uncomfortable.
Go.
They just want to see how well you know yourself
Mm-hmm.
and how you approach personal and professional growth.
So be honest and genuine.
Exactly. When you talk about your strengths, choose qualities that are relevant to the job
Mm-hmm.
and give real examples. Like if you're a good communicator,
Right.
you could mention a time you negotiated a deal or solved a problem with a supplier.
Right. So show them. Don't just tell them.
Yes. And for weaknesses, pick areas where you're actively trying to improve.
Okay.
So instead of saying, I'm a perfectionist,
Mm-hmm.
you could say, I sometimes focus too much on details, but I'm learning to prioritize and delegate.
So you're showing that you're self-aware and want to improve.
Exactly.
All right. Question 15 feels like the grand finale. Why should we hire you? How do you even answer that?
It's like your closing argument. You've already talked about your experience and skills.
Mhm.
Now you have to bring it all together and explain why you're the best person for this specific job.
So remind them of your skills, highlight your achievements, and show your enthusiasm for the company and the role.
Yes. And don't forget to mention how your values line up with the company's culture. Do they value innovation,
Okay.
collaboration, customer satisfaction? Talk about those things.
So it's not just about finding a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's about finding a place where you can really thrive.
Right. And contribute to something bigger.
Okay, question 16. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? This one is like trying to predict the future.
Yeah. It's not about having everything planned out.
Yeah.
It's about showing you're ambitious and motivated and have some goals.
So if you want to become a manager or specialize in something,
Mm-hmm.
those are good things to mention.
Yes, and tie it back to the company's goals. If they're expanding or creating new products, say you want to be a part of that.
So you're thinking ahead and see yourself working there long term.
Exactly. And even if your plans change, it's fine to be honest about where you want to go.
Okay, last question, and this was pretty open-ended. Is there anything else you'd like us to know? How can you use this strategically?
This is your last chance to really impress them. Remind them of a key strength.
Okay.
Share a story that you didn't get to tell earlier,
Mhm.
or talk about something specific about the job that really excites you.
So end on a high note.
Yes, and leave them with a good impression.
Got it. And of course, thank the interviewer for their time.
Of course.
Well, we've covered a lot in this deep dive.
We
Common interview questions, the ins and outs of the import-export industry,
Yeah,
and how RoleCatcher's AI can help you prepare.
it's a powerful tool.
Let's do a quick recap of the key takeaways for acing your interview.
All right.
Prepare thoroughly, show them what you can do with specific examples, be yourself, and show your enthusiasm. And remember, RoleCatcher can help you refine your answers and make sure they fit the job.
You've got this.
Now, as you head into your interview, remember what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Remember why you're passionate about this field.
Yeah. Let that passion shine through.
I think that's the best advice.
It is.
Good luck in your interview.
You'll do great.